Right, good evening. So this is the first of two videos tonight. So I'm just going to do a very quick one now. Well, I say quick, usually going for about 3 hours. So strap yourself in. We're doing a very quick one now about the Corgi January to April release, and the second one this evening will be with Christian Oakley, James Foster, and Sam Marincelli, and we'll be talking through the releases. So to just sort of set the scene, if you're expecting a massive catalogue of aircraft, you might want to look away now. To everyone I've spoken to, everyone's a bit, I'm in all honesty, quite underwhelmed by it, and I'll go through the pictures in a minute. But to add a little bit of balance to that, the reason that the catalogue is relatively small is one, that it's been broken into 3 different sections. So there's a January to April, April to July, and a July through to Christmas one. And they've obviously spread it out. But what they've also had the issue of doing is that a lot of last year's releases have overhung because of production issues, shipping, container costs and whatnot. So what Corgi have clearly done is put a lot of those releases into this catalogue, because clearly either the pre-sales have been very disappointed or there's a lot of room to sell a lot more. Adding the factor that stuff has gone up as well, it's a bit of a weird scenario, because today is usually the day where you get home, or you start the day at 9 o'clock in the morning, you're constantly refreshing the website and you're looking for all these new releases that are all going to last a year, and then you wait another year and they come out again. So what they've done is obviously they've changed it round, which I think is for the better, to have 3 releases per year. But in the process, because there's not a lot of releases in this catalogue, it feels a bit sort of meh. But let's start off. So bear with me, I'm going to go through to my pictures. So thankfully you all don't get to see me for the minute. So there we go. First picture. So this is the first page. And I'm not saying I'm a genius, but I am a genius. I've predicted all 3 of these, albeit through 2 releases. So my 3 predictions were a retooled Spitfire, a 148 Harrier, and the Hamden, because the Hamden's been rumoured for years. Well, it turns out that the 2 Spitfires that are predicted within the same Spitfire group, the TR9 and the 9, are being retooled in 172. And I'm over the moon with that. So if, for anybody who's got any Corgi Mark 9s or Mark 5s, they are very underwhelming. There's no hydral, the shape's a bit wrong, it just looks wrong from the front. It's not slick. And you put it up against a Gemini Aces Spitfire, there's no comparison. And if they can now, I mean, there's no pre-pros or anything which are pictured as yet, but if they can nail the Spitfire shape properly, they're on to a real big winner. So for those who've got, if you think the retooled aircraft they've released so far, so they've retooled the Gloucester Meteor, the Hawk Hurricane, the P51D, and the ME109E. They're classed as the retooled aircraft, and all of them are absolutely brilliant. The Mustang in particular, for those who collect Mustangs, is up there with the Dragon Mustang, which in my eyes is the superior mould in all the die-cast 172 world. I'm really confident that these will be great releases. What I'm really eager to see is a new mark to add to the collection of Spitfires that I've got. So just to add what are actually out there at the moment: Mark 1, Mark 1A, Mark 2, the Mark 5, the Mark 8, the Mark 9, the Mark 14, the Mark 18, the Mark 19 in 172 scale. Obviously there's some other slight variations in there. The TR9 obviously adds another element to that. And from reading through the leaflet, it looks like it's in partnership with the Biggin Hill Heritage Hangar, and the first release will be the Australian TR9, so Grey Nurse, which has been done in, I believe, Mark 8 form by Whitty. But to see a TR9, if I was to be honest, I think it's a strange one to start with. I probably would have gone with something like the Grey Spitfire. The other issue they've got, and I haven't mentioned it, is there's obviously 2 types of canopy. So you've got the Grey style canopy, and you've got, I think is that a Dick Melton style canopy? I might be wrong. For those aficionados out there who might correct me. I don't know whether there's going to be 2 types of canopy or just 1 type, so that might pose slight problems. But if you're going to now go for a flight, in a Spitfire, you've got the option to buy that very plane that you've been in, and I think it's a brilliant tie-up. There's so many schemes out there. There's at the moment 10 airworthy TR9s. In a few years' time, there's going to be close to 20. New Zealand, Australia. There's one in Holland now, I believe, and of course, over in the UK, there's they're everywhere at the moment. So really, really, really good news. The Mark 9, like I said, will be just absolutely superb. Really cannot wait to see that. I have no idea what the first scheme will be in that. I'm sure it's going to be something quite cool. And yeah, going back, the other two aircraft on that front page, obviously the Typhoon, which is expected, I think, late summer now. A lot of work to be done on that, but clearly that should be a really big money maker. Well, it's going to cost a lot of money to buy. By the time we get to summer, it could be double the price, but looking really, really slick for those who've read Diecast Diaries. And of course, the Harrier. And after speaking to Michael, I understand there's quite a few options in terms of how the tooling is going to be on the Harrier. So they're going to have various GRs. I don't know what number on from, maybe a 5 onwards to be able to do. That is going to be brilliant. If you base that on what the Phantom is or what the English Electric Lightning is, it's going to be a great bit of tooling. And it's such an iconic aircraft. It's fantastic to see that being done. So let me stop sharing that one. Bear with me. I'll go to the second page. So, second page is the first of one of only 3 new releases. Yes, that's right. There's only 3 new releases on now. So, obviously, the 2 on there which are currently released. One is the new Bristol Fighter, which I have sitting on the desk behind me, which I'm going to review at some point, which is a stunning bit of kit. Arguably one of Corgi's best aircraft they've ever released. That's how good that is. And of course, that's in 148. The next one, which is yet to come out, is the Pearl Harbor Catalina. Being the owner of 9 cats, I'm looking forward to adding that to the collection. Where the hell it's going to go, I have no idea. But again, a great partner to 2 aircraft I've got sitting behind me, the Pearl Harbor P40 and the Pearl Harbor Zero, which if you're going to buy 2, you might as well get 3, 8. But of course, the next one is the first of new releases, and that is the iconic Mustang Detroit Miss. With the yellow-nosed, yellow cowl in there. A really, really sexy looking aircraft. This has been done by Witty Wings before, but anybody who's got the Witty mould, I wouldn't say it's underwhelming, but it isn't quite right. The Corgi mould should absolutely smash this out of the park. Really looking to get hold of that. That is going to be priced at $59.99, which obviously is quite a lot of money in comparison, but it's a good looking aircraft, and I think that will sell fantastic. Right, so on to the next, sorry, bear with me. On to the next page, he says. This page is including, one aircraft has already been released, which is the Wellington, which has been a lot of ruckus around the paint scheme on there in terms of the jagged lines on the fuselage. But for me, it looks quite nice. You've got Moonbeam McSwine, the Mosquito, which is due out anytime soon. And of course, got really, really highly anticipated, and of course, new mould from last year, the Bristol Beaufort, which I would expect a second release of this, maybe in the 3rd catalogue this year, but I don't know for certain. But certainly one that I'm going to be looking to get hold of as soon as it comes out. Really, again, I think it caught a lot of people by surprise last year, that one. I think everyone's expecting Hamden, but if you've got Blenheims, it's going to be a beauty, and of course Beaufighters, it's going to be a great little brother to sit alongside of it on the shelf. So on to the next page. Excuse me, as I clear my throat. And here we go. So this is the second of 3 releases, and chatting to Jason, who I know was online just a minute ago, he referred to it as an old mould, and you don't think of it as an old mould because this is only the 4th release of a short Sterling. But the mould come out 10 years ago, which is outrageous. How old does that make you all feel? Not looked at the scheme too much, but if I were to be honest, the Sterling, what I'd love to have in my collection would be a D-Day one, or a Hulsa tug as such. But it would need a considerable amount of retooling in order to get that up to speed. So quite a bit of work to do in that sense. But nice looking aircraft. Again, if you've got Sterlings, you'll know how much room they take up on the shelf. Whether I can get a third sterling on there or not, I'm still waiting to get Robert's reply. Whether I can get a third and fourth sterling on there, I have literally no idea. But being a complete collectorholic that I am, I probably will go after it. However, again, a word of note, this is now £174.99, which is a hell of a lot of money for a 172 bomber. But swings and roundabouts, if you want it, you're paying the money for it. As long as the quality's right, I guess, it's still a bit of a sore subject. I mean, please go back and look at the video I did with the lads around the pricing on it. And there's a lot of emotion on there on the forums and on Facebook and of course on the page here. But it is a nice looking aircraft. It's a great mould. Now they fixed the undercarriage after the first release, but well worth looking into. The next two releases, one is the obviously the Strike East range, is the ME110, which I've also done a review on at some point. A nice looking aircraft, but could have done with some substantial weathering. A lot of people were unhappy with the stock finish on that. But of course the ME110, great seller, great looking model, brilliant mould, always sells really well. And it does look nice in the midst of all the collection. And of course the second Messerschmitt from the Strike East range, which is the bomb laden ME109E Emil, which is of course the new mould. That looks incredibly sexy in my eyes, so certainly one that I'm going to be getting relatively soon. I've just received behind me on the pile of aircraft the 109G Gustav, which I'll look to unbox in the next few days and do a video on. So hopefully now we're on to the final page. We are onto the final page. So again, on the left are two aircraft which we already have out, and that's the Beaufighter, which again is the fifth aircraft that's sitting behind me, which needs to be unboxed. Really well received by collectors. Unusual scheme, unusual marker Beaufighter, but they've absolutely nailed it. Jason is convinced it weighs a little bit less than the first one, and I need to weigh both together. He's told me to do that, but I will do that. I mean, he's convinced that it's a lot lighter and there's a bit more plastic content. I can't tell you yet because I've only literally looked at it in the box. The next aircraft, of course, is the RAF Lucas 148 retooled Phantom. And when I say retooled, from the first release they've done work on the cockpit. You've now got an opening cockpit. Really nice aircraft. And again, it's been really well received. For anybody who looks on the diecast forums and pages on Facebook, I know Chris Lawless, who's one of the guys who runs one of the pages, he added some aftermarket stuff to it in terms of, like a generator and some aftermarket, I think, resin ladders and stuff like that. And it really sets it off. But again, if we're paying top end, this is something Corgi have got to get a little bit cuter at, and making sure that they do add those little details to them, because people will now be looking and going, do you know what? Whilst I'll be going after 10 releases in a catalogue, I'm now probably only full 2 or 3, so they're going to get more picky. So it's really important that they set themselves aside from their competitors like the Hobby Masters, the JC Wings, the Calibers, who do it absolutely brilliantly. And of course the third and final and very expensive release is the second Black Buck Corgi Vulcan. So Dan, bless him, is probably, dare I use the term, creaming his pants at the fault of this one. It's a great a great looking aircraft, and of course, for anybody who's been looking at the advent calendar that Corgi did, will see that one of the themes this year is the Falklands. But this is priced at £239.99. When this first came out around about 5 years ago, it was close, I think it was about £140 for the Vulcan. So a big step on. But the finish has got to be right. The last Vulcan, I believe the underside was meant to be grey instead of white, and it wasn't quite right, and there was a lot of noise around that. And they need to make sure they nail this. But again, in terms of you look at the armament underneath the aircraft, I'm not familiar with the actual armament, but it's completely different to anything the Vulcans or any of the Vulcans that they released. So the only other pictures I've got, and I'll show you them anyhow, and they've just shared this on their social media channels, is the box art. So there is a sneak preview of the box art of Detroit Miss, very much in the range of which they released last year. Again, you can see a little bit more detail in there because obviously the picture, it comes straight from the catalogue release rather than official photography. I was very fortunate to get the catalogue slightly earlier, However, out of complete respect to Corgi, I didn't release it, and rightly so, because it's not right. But it gives me a chance to have a look at some of the releases before I did it, so appreciate that. The second one, bear with me if I move over to that, is, here we go, a bit more detail on the Sterling, which is EXG. I'm not 100% sure on what, I've not read all the details on it, but a nice looking scheme, very similar to what we've got already, but there's not really a lot of variations in Sterling schemes. But if you're a heavy bomber fan, I know certainly like James is, he'll be looking to get that one and break his loft with the weight of it, I'm sure. And the final one, the Blackbuck Vulcan. There we go. Yeah, talking about the under-wing armament, I don't know what missiles they are with a Sidewinder. I ain't literally got a clue. I'm not a specialist in that, but looks like slight variation to me. I'm just trying to see if there is missiles under the right wing, but there is. So the aircraft is XM597. This is the one that diverted to Rio de Janeiro. I'm sure it's going to be a brilliant release. Their Vulcans are a magnificent piece of kit. For anybody who's seen Dan's pictures on the Facebook page, you'll see he's got about 7 of the buggers sitting up there. Really nice looking aircraft. I've got 2. That's all I need because I've got no bloody room for them. And I certainly don't want to dish out nearly 250 notes on a Vulcan, but I'm sure it's going to be good. So it's, you know, with all balance, you know, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there who's going to be relatively disappointed in this. Let me stop sharing that. There's going to be a lot of people out there who's going to be really disappointed because obviously with what's gone on in the world in the last 12 months, Corgi haven't been able to knock out their production at anywhere near the rate they'd want to. And consequently, they then had to hang over a lot into this catalogue. It also doesn't help, of course, they're then splitting that catalogue into 3. And because of the amount that they've had to carry over, I'm guessing that's going to be completely skewed in terms of how it's going to obviously reflect through the year. So the next catalogue should be out just post-Easter in April. They haven't confirmed a date yet, but that should be the case. And I would expect roughly 10 aircraft in that, I guess, and I'd imagine maybe 10 to 12. They might even surprise us. So it's going to make tonight's chat at 9 o'clock with Christian, James, and Sam probably slightly shorter than we envisaged, but it should be quite an interesting chat. What we're going to do, we're going to rate the 3 new releases, and we'll talk about the stuff that's yet to come out as well. To beef it up somewhat, because it's always good to catch up with people who really enjoy the same hobby as me. Looking at the initial feedback on the Facebook group, I think a lot of people are really impressed with the fact that there's a new tooled Mark 9 and TR9 and of course a Harrier as well for big jet fans out there. But the noise coming out is again around cost and also around number of releases. Again, there's factors into all of that. You know, everything's really, yeah, James, yeah, it should be a quick vid late. It certainly should be. But with us not talking, not a chance, mate. So yeah, there's a lot of things that go into it. It's not normal, is it? It's not normal times for us all. But it is what it is, and there's more to life than aviation models and Corgi announcements. But you know, from what I'm hearing on the grapevine, the releases this year are really good. Really strong. However, I'm guessing that as a brand, they're looking at not promising too much too soon, because you know, even though the plan is to get these 3 releases out by April, with their cheers, Ad. I knew you'd say that. There's still obviously the risk that they're going to overrun. There's shipping delays, there's cost of shipping, and of course the dreaded C word. No, not that one. COVID. Which, you know, hopefully it's coming to an end, but we really don't know, do we? So, yeah, it's, you know, in all honesty, I'm a little disappointed because there's only 3 now. However, that also means, when looking at the amount that's in there, it also means that I ain't going to have to splash a lot of cash too soon and go too hard too soon. So there is that a little bit of reflection for me. But, you know, the stuff, if you look at what's been released last year, if there is a positive, the stuff that's been released is strong. The stuff I've got sitting on the table now, the Bow Fighter, the Bristol Fighter, the P40 and the ME109 in particular are brilliant. And yeah, I completely agree with you, Ed. I do believe that the Aussie scheme is a strange one to go with. But if you'd been watching earlier, you might have caught up on that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. In terms of civvy schemes on TR9s and TR8s, there's some absolutely sexy ones out there. The all yellow banana one is one that stands out. There's a light blue one that looks fantastic as well. And of course, you've got to remember there's a lot more being manufactured at the moment, whether it be at Biggin Hill or on airframe assemblies on the Isle of Wight. There's a lot coming through the system, so there's so many more schemes you can work with. But it's a start, and like I said from earlier in the video, you can, you know, anybody who flies in a Spitfire now has the opportunity to own one that they've flown in, which is, well, obviously not the real one, but, you know, a model to sit on their mantelpiece to remind them of that day, which I think is a brilliant. Yeah, that's the one. That is indeed the one, the yellow scheme. Now, how nice is that, and how different is that as well? We was hoping that Biggin Hill Heritage Hangar would actually paint MT818 in that scheme at some point. I think there was a rumour, but it came out initially when it left Brooker, in a very plain RAF scheme before it was repainted at Biggin. But look, I'm happy. Spitfire, I'm happy in that sense. But yeah, look, I'm going to wrap up the video now. I don't want to waffle on too long. Yeah, absolutely. MH434 as well would be a good scheme in any of its schemes, in all fairness. So we will be back on at 9 o'clock. Please feel free to join us. Any questions in the bar, in the comments bar, please whack them in there when we're on there. It's great to interact with all of you, as we did with the last one. Matt, you'll stick to your colourful HM Japanese Phantoms. Yeah, I think you'll spend 240 quid. So if anybody knows Matt is obsessed with really strange Japanese jets that have no history whatsoever, that are just painted nice. Yeah, buy the Vulcan and stick Japanese decals on it. That's the sort of guy Matt is. But yeah, and we'll be on back at 9. Sorry, while poor old Matt gets slated. Please join us back then. Hope you've enjoyed what we've seen so far. And again, you know, any of your feedback through the group or on the video, which I'll share on YouTube, Instagram, and on the Facebook group, please put on there. Get your questions in for later on as well when we're on there. And I'll speak to you all later. Have a good night. See you soon.